Welcome to the TalkCondo Release Radar, where every week we talk about the latest new condo launches that you can buy today and the best ones that are coming soon. So this week's a little bit interesting because we're in a bit of a lull week. It's March break. Yeah. A lot of new condo developers don't launch a lot of new condos. Last week we talked about 6 or 7 new condo launches, but out of those 6 or 7, 3 of them are essentially not sold out, 100% sold out, but we're dealing with very limited inventory. 1181 Queen West, we talked about last week as a great option, sold out. Auberge on the Park, phase 2 by Tridel, we're dealing with only larger units, over $800,000 at this point. 859 West, again, very limited inventory, and that just shows how quickly these great projects launch and sell out. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to talk briefly about a couple of projects that you can buy today, but really dive into what's coming up because there's some great projects in the pipeline. So the first one is one we touched on last week, but again, there's still some great units and we really want to talk about it, is One Yonge. So give us a brief breakdown on One Yonge.
Yeah, so we spoke quite a bit last week. So One Yonge, the initial phase is going to be 65 stories. It's called the Prestige. We touched on what things are a part of the entire development. You know, there's the 50,000 square foot community center, 100,000 square foot of total amenity space, the path connection. It's well and truly a multifaceted overall development. There is actually one particular floor plan that I wanted to highlight, and it's east facing. Now, the reason why I really like this unit, and we'll talk about this a little bit later because of the potential views here. So just to give you some bearings, it's literally to the east of One Yonge, the entire development will be Sugar Wharf. Now, part of that development, there's going to be a 2-acre park. So all the east-facing units do have potential to overlook this beautiful landscape park, as well as the East Bay front, going towards east, and potentially some partial lake views as well.
Well, if you think about that, the way the lake wraps around, it actually does wrap up. So when you talk about partial lake views, I think you'd be surprised at how much of the lake you'd see from this vantage point.
But even the amazing thing is even if a lot of people are so focused on the lake. I personally love city views.
Yeah, it's a personal preference for sure.
And as that East Bay front gets built out, I think it's going to look incredible. All the new development going up on there. The one particular unit that I really like is actually called the Residence 08. It's a 1+ den. It's 649 square feet. It's east facing, so it is overlooking Sugar Wharf and further down towards East Bay front along Queens Quay. The reason why I really like this, the specific unit itself, it's sort of separated its living space with sleeping space, I guess. It's all on one side of the unit, beautiful balcony as well. So, you're going to have that very expansive, very beautiful view. The building itself, like I said last time, is going to be 65 stories, 500 suites. The expected completion is 2022. There's some really good units still available. Other than this particular one, I encourage folks to take another look at it. Fantastic development. And you can still get great units at platinum pricing.
Day one pricing.
Day one pricing still.
Yeah. Excellent. Next, we're going to shift gears to Era Phase 2 by Pemberton up in Richmond Hill, and again, I know you've had another deep look into this project. So,
yeah, this is another one we talked about last week. Just to refresh people's minds, it's Highway 7 in Yonge, Pemberton build, master plan community, last tower that's available. The project it's been selling for a little bit, but prices are still really good. There's some inventory left, and I know people always talk about 1-bed plus dens, 1-beds. Investors are always sort of driven to that kind of product, but sometimes at projects there are other types of opportunities. And so one thing I wanted to bring up was some of the larger units at this project, because the price per square foot is actually really, really good at this one. We're looking at one particular plan, the 2A plus D is on the northwest corner of the building. It's $625 a square foot with parking and locker, which is something that you are not seeing.
I don't think you are, really.
No, you're really not seeing that in this market. So people will say, why are these sort of units more undervalued? Well, we're talking about views at One Yonge, and sometimes views can be overstated a lot of the times. I mean, this is a Richmond Hill project. I mean, it is a great, beautiful area, but you're not looking at lake views. You're not looking at downtown city views. So Are you going to pay that $100 extra per square foot to maybe have a slightly better view, or are you going to get the better floor plan for $100 a square foot less? Because in 5 to 10 years, when people are looking for functional space as units in the city get smaller and smaller, they're going to be looking at these types of units. So this particular unit here, you go in, you have a very short foyer. So this is the 2A plus D. Right now, the latest price that we have on it starts at $612,000. So the foyer, you go in really short, which we like. We don't really like to see super long foyers, which is taking up so much square footage. Big, nice, open concept. Kitchen with tons of island space, living and dining. A huge wraparound balcony. Nice master-sized bedroom with a walk-in closet, ensuite, big second bedroom. And that den, 9 by 7, potential kids room. There's definitely potential there for a kids room. We could even turn that into a third bedroom. So huge potential at $625 per square foot. And this is still available.
Yeah, so what I like, another thing that I want to touch on here is that it's market specific, right? In Richmond Hill, a market like that, you don't necessarily want the smallest units, where there's a lot of move down buyers who are going to look for something more like this, more space to move down into. There's a lot more buyer potential.
Move down, and also I think this is perfect for a young family. Because there's people that are going to be wanting to, they work downtown, they have the Langstaff go, that's going to bring them downtown in 40 minutes. They've got...
Which can't be understated, really. That's a really major point.
Yeah, for sure. And we kind of take that for granted when we talk about these projects. But for people that are watching, 40 minutes to downtown, you're not paying downtown prices. Gives you a little bit more space, and even from an investor angle, that 600 and let's call it low 600 price can buy you a lot more square footage
for sure,
which in the future is going to be huge. So want people to take another look at Area 2, especially the larger units, because there are some really, really good deals still there. So that would be my advice for people watching. Yeah.
Great. And now we're going to have a peek at Lumina condominiums. And Lumina is the 9th tower at the Emerald City redevelopment of Fairview Mall. Yeah. And I know you've had another look at the floor plans there, and you've picked out one that you really like as well.
Yeah, so I just want to go briefly explain how Emerald City was built out. It was basically in 3 lots, basically, and it went 3, and now the final lot, this is the 3rd tower, final tower, the 9th tower. And what makes this one interesting is that it runs along, so it's sort of a long building, and it's running along Don Mills. Mm-hmm. And I really like that because that entire west view, it's all low-rise. So I had a brief look yesterday. Henry Farms is the neighborhood name. And just to get an idea and just to get a sense of the kind of real estate that is in that neighborhood, there's currently a listing for $1.5 million in that neighborhood. So it just shows the kind of neighborhood that Emerald City is in. Obviously, the other benefits of this development, and I touched on this last time, was walking distance to the Don Mills subway station, walking distance to Fairview, lots of retail. There's also parks, beautiful park, green space. The particular plan that I really like, and there's a reason why I wanted to talk about those west views. It's called the Swan model. Now, this is a 1+ flex. Now, I remember you talked about 1+ flex last week. What makes this 1+ flex interesting is that it actually has 2 washrooms, this particular unit.
Yeah, and that's a huge
golden deal. So the flex room, it's 1+ flex. To explain it, the reason it's called a flex is because it could be used either for a den or a playroom or potentially a second bedroom. And the fact that this has a second bathroom, it could be it's 2 bedroom, 2 washroom unit.
It's going to rent like a 2.
Exactly. And this, in terms of availability, you could pick one of these up for $484,000, $483,900.
Below the $500,000 mark. Yeah, it is a tough price point right now, and super tough.
Like this, and if you look at the particular floor plan itself, it's very efficient, very square, rectangular.
We push that a lot for sure. The type of floor plan it is, you got to look beyond the square footage. You need to look at the practicality of it, right? The efficiency of it.
And the cherry on top is you're going to get the west views. Mm-hmm. So you're overlooking, $1 point something odd $1 million properties that are likely not going anywhere. So you've got pretty much protected views, west views.
Next, we're going to talk about the new condos that are coming soon. And we always emphasize the importance of getting in first, getting the platinum and the day one pricing. So it's really important to build up to these and know what's in the pipeline. So the first one is one that is a new condo project that is in Mississauga. We've got some more details now. We've got a launch date. So Mike, why don't you talk to us about the way urban towns?
For sure. So, and just to get back to what you were saying, in terms of the coming soons, like we're putting this out there for people to know what's coming up, but get in contact with us as well. If you've registered for any of these projects, get in contact with us, ask us, we'll keep you as posted as we possibly can as info comes, but it's best to stay in contact with us as much as you possibly can, and then we can give you updates so you're ready for those launch days, because sometimes people go on vacation or they, they're kind of just not thinking about it for a second, then it comes up and they're not prepared.
Well, we said at the top of the episode, we said just in the last week, 3 projects that we talked about a week ago. It's very tough to get units in them.
The absorption is crazy right now. It's really strong.
So just a quick note in terms of timing, because it's really, really important before we jump too much into it. But in terms of the way urban towns, where I was talking about, it's in Mississauga, and a lot of people are looking for stuff it's being mostly built in Square One right now. And a lot of people just don't want to be in Square One. They don't want the busyness of it. This is a little bit different of a project. It's called an urban town, which for people that don't really know, that means it's a stacked townhouse. And a stacked townhouse is, again, something that might need to be explained. Generally speaking, there's 3 units within one building, and you'll usually have a main floor, a second floor, and then the unit above that will have 2 floors plus a rooftop terrace. And so a lot of projects are going this way. We've done a few like that. The price points are super, super nice for people here. You're looking at $520 a square foot for this project.
Incredible.
Yeah, really good, and big units as well. So you're not looking at squeezing into 700 square feet for your family. So 2 and 3 bedroom mix, 144 units in total. And then again, in terms of location, this is not in Square One. This is in the Erin Mills neighborhood. And for anybody who's looking for something a little bit quieter neighborhood, it's at Erin Mills and College Way. You're going to be close to the QEW, close to the 403, Erin Mills Town Center, University of Toronto, Mississauga campus. So you have opportunities as an investor if you want to rent out to students. Credit Valley Hospital. Super nice community. Really, really great pricing. And in terms of the finishes, really nice. Much better than you see at a lot of kind of projects like this, to be completely honest. The renderings were really, really nice. And the group that's doing this, Sorbara Group, really nice stuff coming out. So I'm excited. It's coming out, I believe, a couple of weeks.
So
really close.
We've got an early broker launch with some information coming up in the next couple of days. And we should have information on this in the next week or so.
So stay tuned on this one for sure. If you're looking for a Mississauga project.
This is a neighborhood that we know really well. We spent 10 years in that neighborhood when we were growing up, and it's an area that's crying out for this kind of development. There's a lot of larger houses, this modern, urban sort of townhouse. This area is really crying out for this, and I think these ones are going to get picked up really well.
For sure, definitely.
Excellent. Awesome. Now the next one is another major project, and this one's up at Yonge and Finch by a new Yuan Developments, and
I hope I'm saying that right.
You are. they drilled that one into it. So Yuan, this project is called M2M Condominiums. This is a multi-phase development at Yonge and Finch, steps to the subway. This is a major development. This site used to be the Newton Brook Plaza. A group called Yuan Developments from China. Chinese developer with international exposure in Sydney. They've done development in UK and Vancouver. So they're a major development. They came in and they picked up this parcel of land for over $250 million. This is a major investment. Huge project. Anybody who's in the area is aware that the Newton Brook Plaza is going to be developed.
Very old as well. Lots of people in the area are very familiar with the Newton Brook Plaza. This site is it's very exciting. This is a running theme from last week, multi-phased again. So this one is proposed to have a total of 1,600 units, and that's stretched over 5 residential towers. So a little bit about Yuan. You touched on a lot of things. They're very prominent in the Hong Kong market, and they've done 7 towers or 7 developments in Australia. They've also got a couple developments in Vancouver as well. The footprint of the Newtonbrook Plaza is huge. Like if you look at it on, say, Google Maps, it's very, very prominent. And just to give an idea on bearings, the exact site is on the southeast corner of Yonge and Cummer.
Yeah.
And I checked on Google Maps as well. This is roughly 7-minute walk to the Finch subway station, walking south.
Mm-hmm.
So this is north of Yonge and Finch. 7-minute walk to the Finch subway station. It's going to have retail on the base. It's going to be multifaceted. Lots of elements to it. 5 towers, 1,600 units. Very, very exciting.
One of the things I did want to touch on, like we had a chance to have a lunch with the developers.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And one of the things that really stood out to me about Aoyuan versus other developers that come in from overseas is that one of the
local expertise,
and they've come in and they've hired the best of the best from other developers in Toronto, and it was really exciting to see. A lot of times they come in and they'll bring in
their own team,
own team.
The ones that are unfamiliar with the Toronto market, local markets.
What they've realized is that Toronto is hyper local, and they've bought the best of the best. They've from other developers, and it's really good. And the architects are local. They know exactly what this area is looking for, and they've done a really good job of doing that.
You're gonna spend $250 million. You better do it.
Yeah,
you do it right. Yeah, for sure. No, that's great.
Another one we want to touch on, because we've got a lot of new information in the last couple of days, is Uovo Condominiums.
Uovo,
at Yonge and Davisville.
Yeah, I actually found out the meaning of it. It means egg, and it's actually the logo. So if you see the marketing material we send out, it's the again, my neck of the woods, just north of here, actually, just at Hillsdale Avenue West and Yonge, the southwest corner. The new information that we received is. The old stuff that we already knew was 11 stories, 67 boutique 67 open concept units. The square footage range is 630 square foot to 2,000. So you're looking at the small one beds all the way to 3+ dens. I'm always excited to see boutique buildings because you don't really see them too often.
Yeah, they're getting harder and harder.
Yeah, they're getting very, very tough. And I think the way that they've designed the building, and I think the fact that it is a boutique building suits this neighborhood to a T, I think. Because especially along this stretch up in Davisville along Yonge Street, I think it's a very, very cool concept. And whoever's very interested in boutique buildings, I urge them to take a closer look at this one. The neighborhood is fantastic. It has great schools, amazing parks, fantastic retail. I mentioned this last week. You are a 5-minute walk from the eventual LRT and the Eglinton subway station.
We've had a lot of calls about this one too.
A lot of
people
calls.
In the area, especially like if you're looking for that downsizing kind of project while keeping that boutique or keeping that luxury kind of feel.
Absolutely,
become accustomed to. Like you want to. There are not a lot of units here, so you want to be on top of this one for sure.
Yeah, and that's a key point because Yonge and Eglinton, like I said, it's only a 5-minute walk. The absorption there has been extremely strong.
We spent a lot of time in it. It's not too far from Art Shop Condominiums.
No.
One of the things that we really touched on, and it's similar to Lumina here, but if you're looking to buy a low rise in the area, it's the prices are sky high. You're in the multi-million dollars. So this is an option for someone who's looking for a larger space. Can't quite get into that residential market, and these are the kind of buildings that really speak to that. And we got some information on suite finishes.
Yeah, no, I was just going to talk about that too. So the price range is going to be from the mid 600s all the way to $2 million. So you're looking at a very much higher caliber, very high end building. The kinds of finishes, you've got 9-foot and 10-foot high smooth ceilings. You've got gas inside and out.
That's awesome. On the terrace.
It's amazing.
Inside and out.
Which you don't really tend to see very often.
Yeah.
Right? And then you've also got 13-foot integrated Italian kitchens with an oversized kitchen island.
Nice.
Which is another
So 13-foot kitchen run, which again, if for those who are not too familiar, standard kitchen run in a condominium is anywhere from 8 to 10 feet.
Yeah, 8 to 10
So you are getting that oversized kitchen.
Yeah. It's definitely speaking to that buyer.
No, absolutely.
For sure.
Very, very excited. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's a welcome addition to the neighborhood. We're expecting completion to be between 2021 and 2022.
Launch timeframe on this one, we're expecting.
Was it April? I think it's
sometime
in April.
In the next month or so is where we're really going to get.
When we should start getting some more information. We did send out some information, especially on this update about a week ago. But hopefully we'll get some sort of launch timelines very, very soon. And of course we'll send that information as soon as we find out.
So the next few projects are ones that we did do a bit of a deeper dive on last week.
Yeah.
So we'll touch on them again because they are great projects that are in the pipeline. But we'll run through the next few very, very quickly. So the first one is Garden District Condos, Mutual and Shooter Street, downtown Toronto. Just give us a quick rundown on Garden Street. There's not a lot of new information since last week.
No, there's not a lot of info, but if you missed the episode last week, and for anybody who's watching, we'll definitely delve into this. Once these are ready to launch, we're going to delve into a lot more detail. But this is just giving you an idea of what's coming up in an area. If you're looking for more core projects, Mutual and Shooter, like 5 minutes from Dundas Square, Eden Center, Queen Station, Ryerson, major hospitals, retail. Like you can't get more core than this right now. So this is something. Another cool thing is that they are going to be incorporating some heritage townhomes at the base of the building. So a really cool project that's going to keep a little bit of the prestige and sort of life from that particular neighborhood. But we're going to have way more details. We'll delve into it a lot more, but a AAA location. So this is one to keep an eye on.
You mentioned the heritages. The site is actually 3 homes that were bought out, and they're going to be incorporated.
Into the face.
The next one is the Menkes Development Sugar Wharf. I know I'm going to put a lid on this because I know you can talk forever. So give us the quick rundown, and then we'll do a big deep dive.
Well, I'll be very quick on this, and it's something that I should have mentioned last time. Was John Tory was a big part of the groundbreaking ceremony.
Yeah,
right, big deal. And obviously, a lot of people heard his speech, and there was a couple of key takeaways that I really wish I mentioned last time. But for me, key takeaways, and it's all related to not only this development but everything else that's going on in Toronto, is the city as a whole. They have lofty ambitions to be the greenest city in North America. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things that they need to do to be able to achieve that. But one of the things that they're doing is obviously allowing developments like Sugar Wharf to happen. And just to give some bearings as to where this is, we talked about One Yonge at the base of Yonge Street. This development is literally east of One Yonge, right? It's going to be multifaceted. You're looking at 5 towers.
So the scope of this area is going to be...
It's humongous. Massive. It's huge. It's huge. So there's a couple of really, really interesting elements here. We talked about heights as well last time. This is no different, actually. The site itself is done in quadrants. So there's 4 pieces. The bottom right is going to be the brand new LCBO headquarters. And it's also going to have a brand new LCBO liquor store at the base. It's going to be a very, very...
Because this used to be on the LCBO lands.
Yeah. Exactly. So the bottom right corner. The top right is the first phase. So Sugar Wharf, phase 1. First phase. It's in 2 phases. So phase 1 will be 2 towers. The first 2 towers are 64 stories and 70 stories. So not small.
Yeah. It's funny that we were at a point where we're saying...
Well, it's represented 65, 85, 95, is it?
65, 80, and 95.
65, 80.
So there's a lot of density coming, and it's something that the city wants. I need to emphasize that this is not by accident, it's by design. The city wants this because another thing that John Tory mentioned was along Front Street, they did an analysis on this. 40% of the population is walking to work. So a lot of times you hear about this whole concept of why is there so many condos coming? Because it's going to increase traffic. It's actually doing the opposite. Because it's bringing people back into the city, closer to jobs.
You haven't even touched on the path connection.
And I will. So the other key thing about this development is the number of jobs that is anticipated to bring, because part of this whole piece is going to be not only the office component from LCBO, but also the retail component that's fronting on the park. So the park is the bottom left quadrant of the site, and it's going to be 2 acres, and it's being created in the joint effort with Pinnacle and Menkes. Okay, so a retail component as well. Menkes, the developer, is not only known for residential but also office. So they've built a lot of office.
Well, they just
buildings.
finished One Yonge, right? That's
Yeah.
part of the Harbour Plaza development. So that's the most recent, but they've built so many offices.
So much, and you know what? Menkes is one of those developers that are extremely reputable, very highly respected. They definitely have had a hand in what we see as what the city is today. They're a big part of it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of office towers. This development is extremely exciting. 64 stories, 70 stories. There's going to be a 2-acre park. North side of the park will be a retail pavilion, like I mentioned, a grocery store. Another amazing thing is there's going to be a new public elementary school.
Oh,
I know you said that I need to skim over this, but it's very
next week we're going to try and keep Sugar Wharf below 60 seconds.
Yeah.
That's the.
I apologize, but it's a very exciting development.
For sure,
So
it's
new-
one of the most exciting.
out of a lot of them, a new public elementary school, and then of course what you mentioned before, the path connection. I think the path connection, well and truly. How can you get any better than that, right? With everything else that's going on, and then just to complete it, put the cherry on top.
Do we have a timeline at all?
Very soon.
Yeah, we don't have a launch timeline just yet, but we are anticipating this one this spring, and that's why we want to keep bringing this one up, because it's
This is a big one.
this is a big one that's going to have a lot of demand. So
A lot of demand, a lot of scope, multifaceted, just like the neighboring development. That's set to bring employment space for up to 4,500 people.
Yeah,
and it's really exciting. So we are definitely watching out for this one. So
another one again, it's Menkes, is indie condominiums.
yeah,
So we've already talked about Menkes. We know we do, and we can talk about Menkes all day, right? They're one of the top tier builders.
very highly respected. Yeah,
The next one is indie condominiums at Yonge and Jarvis.
Yes.
Jarvis and Dundas.
Jarvis and Dundas. So it's actually just literally a few steps east. I mentioned this last time as well. Ryerson is my old stomping ground, so it's an area that's very close to my heart. Anytime there's any new development, I get really excited. Just because the thing is with Ryerson as a whole, Ryerson University, ever since I graduated, and it's always a shame that these developments take place after you leave the
It's
place,
always the case,
right? But Ryerson has expanded so much since I left.
It's grown up quite a bit.
An insane amount, and as a side effect of that, there's been a massive shortage of rooms for students.
Yeah.
I remember even back when I was attending, there was a huge shortage. I actually had people begging me to come and stay with me for a short period of time till they can find accommodation. But it's always been a problem in that area. So Ryerson has always been a big pull, a big draw for that area. And a lot of new developments are now servicing that demand.
Shortage,
that shortage is servicing that demand. And there's been a lot of development ever since 2011 with Pace.
It's a completely different area that's today
so
than it
different
was 5, 6, 7 years ago. And
even
grids
then.
flying.
Yeah.
Dundas Square Garden is now under construction on the 10th floor.
Yeah.
That area is only getting better and better. So
and the other key elements that I've not even spoke about, and you touched on this with the Garden District, is that it's walking distance to Eaton Centre.
Yeah.
It's walking distance to the Dundas subway station. It's right next, walking distance to the Young Dundas Square, which is probably one of the more important public spaces than, say, Nathan Phillips Square in all of Toronto. A lot of events and arts and culture and stuff takes place there. So you're walking distance to all these things, and of course, you're right across the street from Ryerson University as well. This one, the nitty-gritty of it, 204 suites, 21 stories. Expected completion, we think, in 2022.
yeah.
So another one we're really, really excited about.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is another one that we touched on last week. Again, part of another master plan development. It is playground condominiums as part of the Garrison Point redevelopment.
Yeah, and this is another one we could spend forever on. And when we actually do, when this is actually launching, we're going to go through a really, really in-depth.
I like how he keeps repeating that.
And we will. And that,
Yeah, we will. No, it's really important because we only have a certain amount of time to go through all these things, and this is it's hard to.
It doesn't give justice to the project.
It's hard to give the scope of it because so much stuff is building in Toronto.
Absolutely.
This is a massive redevelopment of this area, so it's sort of north of Fort York, south of, or just south of King West or east of King West, kind of. This is the second tower in Citizens redevelopment of Garrison Point. First one's under construction right now. Second tower is going to be 35 stories, 432 units. Master plan community. Garrison Point is going to be a game changer for this area. Because the west side has always felt a bit cut off from the downtown core, right? King Street Pilot has made this very, very accessible. So this is a really unique opportunity for, again, another West End project where...
Just pause for 1 second and just give me a 30-second rundown of what the King Street Pilot is. Why is that so important for this area? So
at certain times of the day, obviously during more like business hours, basically no cars except for, I believe it's taxis and are allowed on the street on King Street. So in terms of people getting downtown streetcars, it's going to open it up huge, making it much more pedestrian friendly. And obviously for people that are in the King West area, Liberty Village area, they'll be able to get downtown a lot quicker. Because that was, you would see lineups of streetcars.
Well, the other reason is because King Street, in terms of its importance from a macro standpoint, it's so much more like King Street is becoming an extremely important street, not just from a residential perspective, but like economically, right?
For sure.
Retail.
And as you go down King, it changes, right?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it goes all the way through the heart of Toronto, so it's different in each and every area. But
just to move people more efficiently.
Yeah, the main idea is to take the cars off the road, so the streetcars have dedicated lanes.
And speaking specifically from the aspect of someone who would be looking to purchase at a playground, this is the main reason, right? So investors as well. You're looking at something that's going to change the number one complaint from people living in that area, right?
Yeah.
So this is a really, really big project, really big master plan community. Again, we can go on for forever on it, but really important to just touch on that aspect of for people that are watching, because this will be a really big one. Again, second tower. So yeah, I'm excited about this one when it comes
for sure. And last but certainly not least is the DuEast boutique residences, which is the next phase at the Regent Park redevelopment by Daniels.
Yes, and I actually can't wait for when we go into major detail of this one, because I love talking about the whole Regent Park revitalization.
So we've interviewed Dominic Tompa a couple of times in the past, and he's amazing because he's seen that entire development.
Well, he's ran through it from all the way from day zero.
So, but give us a quick rundown on the boutique.
So it's the second tower in the development.
DuEast
sold last fall, sold out super quick.
It was one day.
This is phase 3 of the revitalization
of 5 phases.
Of 5 phases. This is going in at Dundas and Sumac, right near where the Wyatt is. I guess Daniels' last other big tower in that area. So this is Daniels built. They're the ones who have been. I'm sure you know the name. If you don't, we'll send out information on Daniels, one of the biggest builders in the city. Huge master plan.
GTA, perhaps.
GTA. They revitalize areas. They've done it in Toronto and Mississauga. So. A household name for sure. This is a boutique though, so it's only 112 units. So this one's going to go just as quick.
So last week we mentioned that you could download floor plans already. We have a handful of samples. We've already been bombarded on this one. So if you're interested in DuEast boutique, 2 things: let us know soon. And 2. For those who are not going to be able to get in, because it's going to be a tough one. This one, it's only 100 units. There is a larger tower coming in the fall, so we want to make sure that everybody's aware of that.
And I get a lot of people who are looking at that price point that's getting a little bit tough in terms of Toronto condos. Regent Park, this area is one that you want to definitely look at, because this is where Daniels still has made this super affordable for people, especially those first timers that are looking to get into the market. So definitely keep your eyes open for this one.
Excellent. So that's everything for this week. We look forward to chatting again next week about all the new condo launches.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.